The Zarnak Dominion, an empire spanning countless star systems, had never encountered significant resistance in their conquests. Their technology was unparalleled, their strategies flawless. When their scouts identified Earth, a seemingly primitive planet teeming with resources, the decision to invade was swift and confident. On a crisp morning in New York City, Captain Maria Rodriguez stood at the helm of the United Earth Defense Coalition's command center. Her sharp eyes scanned the holographic displays, each detailing routine patrols and planetary defenses. Years of service had honed her instincts, and today, an unshakable unease gnawed at her. "Captain, all sectors report normal activity," Lieutenant Harris reported, his voice steady but questioning. Maria nodded, but her intuition whispered otherwise. "Maintain heightened alert. Something feels off." Miles away, in a cluttered laboratory at MIT, Dr. Alan Kim adjusted his glasses, peering intently at a complex algorithm on his screen. A prodigious scientist renowned for his unconventional problem-solving, Alan was engrossed in deciphering a peculiar signal that had recently been detected. "It's as if someone's knocking," he mused aloud, fingers dancing over the keyboard. His assistant Clara looked up. "Do you think it's extraterrestrial?" Alan shrugged, a playful grin tugging at his lips. "If it is, let's hope they're friendly. But just in case, let's prepare for a less-than-warm welcome." Meanwhile, in the bustling streets of Brooklyn, Private Jake Thompson weaved through the crowd, his mind adrift in a daydream of heroics and adventure. Fresh out of basic training, Jake's youthful exuberance often led him into imaginative scenarios, much to the amusement of his peers. "Yo, Thompson," a voice called out, snapping him back to reality. Jake turned to see his friend, Sam, grinning. "Still saving the world in your head." Jake laughed, "Just waiting for my moment, man." At a nearby military outpost, Sergeant Lisa Wildcard Davis was in the midst of a heated poker game. Her reputation for unpredictability was well earned, and her comrades both admired and feared her unorthodox methods. "You gonna play that card or just stare it down?" one of the soldiers teased. Lisa smirked, tossing a card onto the table. "Patience is a virtue, boys. Something you all could learn." Suddenly, alarms blared across all military channels. The sky above major cities darkened as colossal Zarnak ships descended, casting ominous shadows over the landscape. Panic erupted as the invaders swiftly disabled Earth's primary defense systems with precision strikes. Back at the command center, Captain Rodriguez's unease solidified into grim determination. "All units, this is not a drill. Engage all defensive protocols. We are under attack." Dr. Kim's screen flashed with urgent messages. He quickly accessed satellite feeds, his eyes widening at the sight of the alien vessels. "Clara, initiate the contingency plans. We need to understand their technology. Fast." Jake, amidst the chaos in Brooklyn, felt a surge of purpose. His daydreams had become reality. He sprinted towards the nearest military rally point, determination etched on his face. Sergeant Davis abandoned her game, her mind already strategizing. "Looks like the real game's begun. Time to show these aliens what a wild card can do." As the Zarnak forces deployed ground troops, Earth's defenders quickly realized that conventional warfare would lead to certain defeat. The invaders' technology was too advanced, their tactics too refined. In the war room, Captain Rodriguez convened an emergency meeting. "We can't match them head-on," she stated, her voice resolute. "We need to think differently, use what they don't expect." Dr. Kim, appearing on a secure video link, nodded. "Agreed. We need to exploit their unfamiliarity with our planet and our unpredictability." Jake, now part of the assembled team, spoke up. "We know our cities, our terrain. We can use that to our advantage." Sergeant Davis leaned back, a gleam in her eye. "Guerrilla tactics, unconventional warfare. Hit them where they least expect it." Maria looked around at the diverse group before her, a seasoned leader, a brilliant scientist, a young dreamer, and an unpredictable strategist. Each brought a unique perspective, a vital piece to the puzzle. "All right," she said, a plan forming in her mind. "Let's show the Zarnak what it means to face human ingenuity. We'll fight on our terms, with our methods. They may have the technology, but we have the home advantage." As the team delved into strategizing, the weight of their task loomed large. The odds were stacked against them, but humanity's resilience had always shone brightest in the darkest times. Unbeknownst to the Zarnak, their invasion had awakened a formidable force, one that thrived on adaptability, creativity, and an indomitable spirit. The battle for Earth had begun, and the Zarnak were about to learn a harsh lesson. Never underestimate human ground forces. "Our conventional forces are outmatched," Maria began, her voice firm. "But the Zarnak are unacquainted with our planet's intricacies and our capacity for unconventional warfare." Dr. Alan Kim, seated beside a makeshift workstation cluttered with alien tech fragments, nodded. "I've been analyzing their equipment. While advanced, it's susceptible to environmental factors they haven't accounted for." Private Jake Thompson leaned forward, his youthful enthusiasm evident. "We can use our city's layouts to our advantage. Set traps in alleyways. Utilize underground passages. They won't anticipate guerrilla tactics in urban settings." Sergeant Lisa Wildcard Davis smirked, her eyes gleaming with mischief. "Hit-and-run operations, sabotage, psychological warfare. We'll make them regret setting foot on our turf." The team set to work, devising a series of guerrilla operations aimed at exploiting the Zarnak's unfamiliarity with Earth's diverse environments. Dr. Kim focused on repurposing alien technology. He discovered that the Zarnak's communication devices, while encrypted, could be disrupted by certain frequencies emitted by modified household appliances. With limited resources, he transformed microwave ovens into jamming devices capable of interfering with enemy communications within a localized radius. "It's not elegant," Alan admitted, wiping sweat from his brow, "but it should create enough confusion to give our squads the upper hand." Meanwhile, Jake and Lisa scouted the urban jungle of New York City. They identified choke points, escape routes, and vantage positions. Jake's intimate knowledge of the city's labyrinthine streets proved invaluable. "We can rig these fire escapes to collapse under weight," Jake suggested, pointing to a series of interconnected ladders. "It'll funnel them into this courtyard, where we can set up an ambush." Lisa nodded appreciatively. "Good thinking. And if we plant decoy supplies here," she indicated a nearby warehouse, "we can lure them into a trap." As night fell, the team executed their plan. Small, mobile units moved through the city, striking swiftly and disappearing into the shadows. The Zarnak, unaccustomed to such guerrilla tactics, found themselves constantly on the defensive. In one operation, a squad led by Jake lured a group of Zarnak soldiers into a narrow alley. As the aliens advanced, the humans triggered a series of improvised explosives, causing the buildings to collapse inward, trapping the invaders. "They may have superior firepower," Jake muttered, watching the dust settle, "but we've got the home field advantage." Elsewhere, Lisa orchestrated a psychological operation. She hacked into the city's electronic billboards, displaying images of defeated Zarnak soldiers and messages in their language, sowing seeds of doubt and fear. "Let's see how they handle a little mind game," she chuckled, observing the bewildered reactions of the alien patrols. Despite their successes, the human forces faced challenges. Supplies were limited, and the constant threat of discovery loomed large. Yet, each skirmish bolstered their resolve, proving that ingenuity could counter technological superiority. In a debriefing session, Maria addressed her team. "We've made significant strides, but this is just the beginning. The Zarnak are formidable, but they're learning, adapting. We need to stay one step ahead." Alan interjected, "I've been working on a way to turn their drones against them. If we can hijack their control signals, we can use their own surveillance to feed them false information." Maria smiled, a glint of hope in her eyes. "Let's make it happen. Every advantage counts." As the team dispersed to prepare for the next phase of their resistance, A sense of unity and purpose permeated the air. They were not just fighting for survival, but demonstrating the indomitable spirit of humanity. Unbeknownst to them, their actions were being closely monitored. Deep within the bowels of a Zarnak command ship, Commander Zalcor reviewed footage of the recent skirmishes. These humans are more resourceful than anticipated, he mused, his mandibles clicking in contemplation. It's time to escalate our efforts. The battle for Earth was far from over, and the next moves would test the limits of human ingenuity and resilience. In the heart of the city, the Zarnak established a seemingly vulnerable supply depot, deliberately leaving it lightly guarded. The bait was set, and as anticipated, human scouts reported the opportunity to Captain Maria Rodriguez. It's too convenient, Maria mused, studying the holographic map. But if it's a trap, we can turn it against them. Dr. Alan Kim adjusted his glasses, deep in thought. If we can infiltrate their communication network during the assault, we might access their strategic data. Private Jake Thompson, ever the eager combatant, grinned. A chance to hit them hard and gather intel? I'm in. Sergeant Lisa Wildcard Davis leaned back, a mischievous glint in her eye. Let's give them a show they'll never forget. As night cloaked the city, the human strike team moved into position. Jake led a squad to create a diversion, drawing Zarnak forces away from the depot with a series of hit-and-run attacks. Meanwhile, Maria, Alan, and Lisa approached the depot from the opposite side. Remember, Maria whispered, our primary objective is their data. Engage only if necessary. Inside the depot, Alan located a terminal connected to the Zarnak network. With deft fingers, he began the infiltration process. Lisa stood guard, her senses heightened for any sign of trouble. Minutes felt like hours as Alan navigated the alien system. I'm in, he finally breathed, downloading their strategic plans now. Suddenly, Lisa's hand shot up, signaling silence. The faint hum of approaching footsteps grew louder. We've got company, she hissed. Maria readied her weapon. Alan, how much longer? Just a few more seconds, he replied, fingers flying over the interface. The door slid open, revealing a squad of Zarnak soldiers. Without hesitation, Maria and Lisa opened fire, the confined space amplifying the sounds of battle. Alan remained focused, a bead of sweat tracing his temple. Got it, Alan exclaimed, disconnecting a data drive. Let's move. The trio retreated, weaving through the depot's labyrinthine corridors. Outside, Jake's diversion had escalated into a full-blown skirmish. Spotting his comrades, he provided covering fire as they dashed toward their extraction point. Back at their underground base, the team gathered around Alan as he decrypted the stolen data. A holographic display illuminated the room, revealing the Zarnak's invasion blueprint. This is it, Maria said, her voice tinged with awe. We know their plans, their supply routes, their weaknesses. Jake punched the air. Time to turn the tide. Lisa's grin widened. Let's show them what happens when you underestimate humanity. As the team strategized their next move, a renewed sense of hope and determination filled the room. The Zarnak had set a trap, but it was humanity that had ensnared the advantage. This is our shot, Maria declared, her voice firm. We take out their command center, and we give humanity a fighting chance. Dr. Alan Kim adjusted his glasses, his analytical mind already formulating a plan. The Citadel's defenses are formidable, but if we can infiltrate their power grid, we might overload their systems and create an opening. Private Jake Thompson, ever the eager combatant, grinned. A chance to hit them where it hurts? Count me in. Sergeant Lisa Wildcard Davis leaned back, a mischievous glint in her eye. Sounds risky. I like it. As night fell, cloaking the city in darkness, the team moved with practiced stealth toward the Citadel. The air was thick with tension, each step bringing them closer to the heart of the alien stronghold. Stay sharp, Maria whispered, her eyes scanning the shadows. Alan, how's our entry points? Alan consulted his handheld device, a map of the Citadel's infrastructure glowing softly. There's a maintenance hatch on the west side. It should lead us directly to the power core. Jake tightened his grip on his weapon. Let's move. The longer we wait, the greater the risk of detection. Navigating through rubble and debris, they reached the hatch. Lisa expertly bypassed the security protocols, and the team slipped inside, descending into the bowels of the Citadel. The hum of alien machinery grew louder as they approached the power core. Alan's eyes gleamed with determination. Once we overload the core, we'll have minutes to escape before the entire place goes up. Maria nodded. Plant the charges. Jake, Lisa, cover our exit. As Alan worked swiftly to set the explosives, the distant sound of footsteps echoed through the corridors. Lisa's eyes narrowed. We've got company. Jake readied his weapon, a determined look on his face. We'll hold them off. Alan finished up. The ensuing firefight was intense, the confined space amplifying the sounds of battle. Maria and Jake provided covering fire as Lisa took down enemies with lethal precision. Charges are set. Alan shouted over the din, "We need to move now." The team retreated, racing against time as alarms blared throughout the Citadel. Emerging into the night, they sprinted away from the looming structure. A deafening explosion erupted behind them, the ground trembling as the Citadel was consumed in a fiery inferno. The shockwave knocked them off their feet, but they quickly recovered, turning to witness the destruction. Maria's chest heaved with exertion, a triumphant smile spreading across her face. "We did it." Alan nodded, his expression a mix of relief and exhaustion. "Their command structure is in shambles. This is the break we've been fighting for." Jake let out a whoop of victory. "That's what I'm talking about." Lisa smirked, wiping sweat from her brow. Not bad for a bunch of underdogs. As dawn broke, casting a golden hue over the ravaged city, the team regrouped with other resistance fighters. The destruction of the Citadel had sown chaos among the Zarnak forces, and humanity seized the opportunity to launch a coordinated counteroffensive. Weeks passed, and the tide of war shifted. The Zarnak, unprepared for the resilience and ingenuity of human ground forces, began a full retreat. The once invincible alien empire had learned a harsh lesson. Never underestimate humanity's will to survive. Standing atop a hill overlooking the liberated city, Maria addressed her team, her voice filled with pride. "We've shown them what it means to be human. This victory is just the beginning. Together, we'll rebuild and ensure that our world remains free." The team stood together, united by their shared struggle and triumph. The future remained uncertain, but one thing was clear. As long as humanity stood together, no force in the universe could extinguish their indomitable spirit.